All right, at this time we want to turn over to the Minister for Education. He has an update on school and the closure of school for this week. Minister.
Thank you very much, Press Sec. Good evening, good night, Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and everyone following this broadcast. I first want to echo gratitude to God for His goodness and His mercy to Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Notwithstanding what we have been faced with, we have been spared what could have been a lot worse, and so I register my thanks to God for His keeping mercy on all of us. We empathize with those who have had tragedies, the families of the few persons who we heard have lost lives. We empathize with all of you, and we pray that God gives you the grace and the strength that you need to cope and to manage amidst the disaster and to have personal loss. It's probably an additional tragedy for you, but we do empathize with you, and we pray that God gives you all of the strength you need. In relation to education, we advise that schools will remain closed for students for the rest of the term. Schools were ordinarily going to be closed officially at the ending of this week, but given the circumstances, we have moved in the interest of safety of all concerned to have schools remain closed for students to the end of the term. We are expecting that teachers will report as far as is possible to schools, because we know that teachers will have end of term activities to complete. It might have to do with report cards, it might have to do with just packing away stuff for the end of term. So for teachers, we anticipate that you will report to work since the official state of emergency has been recalled. We know that your graduation ceremonies will be affected. Some of the schools, your graduation ceremonies will be affected since your dates may have been planned, but we advise that you are free to reschedule for some later time when it's safer to do so. So be guided accordingly, but we anticipate that you won't be able to have those activities within the rest of this week. We are also aware that you will need to present students with their report cards, and so you are free to arrange with your various groups of students the days when the students themselves or their parents can come to the schools to collect their report cards. It does not have to be this week. It could be sometime next week when we are in a safer place to do so. So be advised that we anticipate that you will make those report cards available, but probably not within the next day or two. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this causes, because we know quite a lot of preparation goes into many of these activities, but we do believe it's necessary to preserve the safety and well-being of our traveling population. There are still many fallen trees. There are some students who live in homes that have lost their roofs, and in the case of the Sister Isle, many of the school buildings themselves have been affected. And so, all being considered, we still think that it's in the best interest of our nation's children and population at whole to close school at this point for the rest of the term. We continue to advise that you be very mindful and be safe in all that you do, since there will be still threats and risk factors somewhere in the public domain. So we advise all to be very cautious. Be guided accordingly. Thank you.